Here we are, Rachel.
We are. It's Christmas, Grinchmassy.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmassy. Wow.
It's Christmas. We're off to a great start here. Listen, we mentioned at the top of the show last week that on Monday.
We are really off to a great start.
That Rachel loves the Grinch, and here we are, Grinch blanket, everything. It's crazy. And yet,
Grinch slippers.
I'm not a huge fan of the fact that it's not Grinch weather outside. It is, well, it seems like Grinch weather because it's like rainy and hovering around. Like, again, I don't want to start every podcast with me complaining about the weather, but like, just, I want some consistency. I like the cold.
Mike needs to go live at my house because we got 6 inches of snow yesterday.
I love that. And some people might say that 6 inches of snow is too much, It's not. That, that it can be an uncomfortable amount of snow,
Well, remember last year when we got that like Armageddon?
Yeah.
My mom and I had to shovel that because my stepdad was away. Imagine me and my mom.
Feminism,
except we have a 10-car driveway. So, and we couldn't figure out how to start the snowblower. But now, God bless my brother, he purchased a pickup truck and is getting a shovel for the front of it.
Listen, I'm of the belief that I actually enjoy shoveling snow. I find it very therapeutic.
I like it too, not for 4 hours.
You could have just I used to, back before climate change has completely destroyed us, where like I would just toss on a podcast, go out and shovel like the whole neighborhood, man. You should have called me. I would have been up there. I would have, had the old AirPods in and just have gone.
I'm going to do that because there's a bunch of old people that live in our little community. I don't even know what to call it because it's like it's not a neighborhood. There's like 12 houses.
I would say community then.
Yeah, it's a community.
Vicinity,
But yeah, and there's like, it's interesting because there's our house, but then every other house is either like a really old couple or a super young couple that just moved in because they bought the house from a really old couple.
Yes.
So it's kind of one of those interesting.
And
there's
both
a bunch of
people don't like to shovel snow.
And let's face it, kids are not useful shoveling snow.
Like, the kids are just not useful in general.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't use them for labor anymore. Thanks a lot, unions. So
the Uncles Union of Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, hey, look, podcast listeners, if you live in the Toronto area, you need your snow shoveled. You need your snow. You need your show snubbled. You know who to call. All right, Rachel. Well, look. I find that there's always a very typical way that the news cycle goes in sports, in North American sports. That the NBA or the NFL or even the MLB will do something and the NHL won't. But then for the next month, the news will be dominated with, but what if the NHL did this?
Like, I think the MLB actually made a fantastic rule change for last season, which was the pitch clock. Yeah. I think that I don't like the pickoff rule where you can only throw twice because I think that's inherently like cheating. But I like the pitch clock. I think and that was a really positive rule change. That obviously doesn't apply to hockey, but it shows that like you can try things that are going to upset the apple cart and they might end up being really, really positive.
Yeah, well, the main thing I'm trying to say is that the NHL is always the last to act. So we always get this
They just don't act at all.
Or they don't act at all. So we get this period of the NFL, the NBA, whatever, doing something cool. And then how the NHL content machine works is we go, but what if the NHL did that? And the most recent one is the NBA in-season tournament. Now, I am not... I hate to sound like a boomer in this case.
All right, Uncle Mike.
But like... I just don't love an in-season tournament. And again, I feel like...
I don't either. I'm glad that we're on the same page.
I feel like you put a couple years of it, like you trench it into tradition, and then maybe, we come around on it. But like, I just...
What if it was
I'm
like...
a traditionalist in that sense, but we cannot deny that the NBA in-season tournament has produced some very cool stuff this year.
Super cool. Also, my bet ticket on Tyrese Halliburton being the NBA's most improved player is looking... real nice. I got him at plus 5,000. He's plus 700 this morning.
Can you win the MIP if you were already a really good player? Like, it's
But when you're averaging almost a triple-double a game.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, Luka Doncic had a triple-double he had a 29-point, so basically a 30-point triple-double at halftime yesterday.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'll never forget the game that Luka put up like a 60-point triple-double, like which he's
with 20 rebounds
in like February of last year or this year, I guess. So it's crazy.
I don't love the NBA in-season tournament, but the NBA does Christmas games, and I feel like they could do, instead of like the in-season tournament, you can literally call it the NBA holiday tournament, because Hanukkah, I believe, starts today.
I don't know.
Diwali was 2 weeks ago. And so what you do is you start it, I don't know, mid-November, and it runs until Christmas, basically. And that, and maybe the NBA, like the final of the holiday tournament is Christmas Day.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be kind of cool, right? So I think there's different ways, but I like that the NBA does things like the Vegas prospects tournament. Like
the summer league is fantastic, and that's the answer to the decentralization of the draft, because the NBA has has a decentralized draft. That's the model that the NHL is basically going to go. That in the NFL,
terrible idea, and we'll break that down at some point in the future.
But the thing is that the reason that these other leagues do the decentralized draft is because they have, because and even the MLB too, is that they have like conventions, basically, like meetings where everyone congregates. Like
that MLB winter meetings.
The winter meetings are happening right now. You know, the NFL has like they have the combine. Like where every GM, coach, coordinator, all that, where the entire world, the football world, is in one place, usually Indianapolis. And they
I was accidentally in Indianapolis once for the NFL one, and had no idea what was going on.
A bunch of bald dudes with goatees and polo shirts, like everywhere, at like every chain bar.
Pretty much.
Just at the Applebee's bar.
They're at
doubles.
Buca de Beppo, St. Elmo's, and Harry and Izzy's.
There you go. And then the ML, and then even basketball, they have the summer league, which
everyone's there,
and it's like literally like appointment viewing for a lot of people, because you get to see the drafted prospects, like the prospects that just got drafted, like right away in a game, which is really important. The NHL doesn't have that. They have things like
what if they did like the rookie tournament,
like the same way they do summer league? I would love that. Because
and everyone make everyone there, so that all the GMs are there kibitzing, doing whatever.
Because that was the point of the draft, is that it was the NHL's like convention. Like,
why do you think most trades happen at the draft?
Because everyone's in one spot, and so they go, all right, let's go out to dinner. All right, I'll trade you Emil Bemstrom for a third. Sure, like
pretty much. They get super drunk,
yes,
and they make trades. And if you don't think that happens.
And the writers myself included, get super drunk and we write about the trades. You know, like that's what happens. But
so the NBA in-season tournament, for anyone who doesn't know, 67 games. They're all nationally televised, which was huge. And the players got a bigger piece of that television money, which was massive. So that's a huge, I think that's a jumping off point for the NHL, is if they say they're all going to be nationally televised.
Yes.
Right? Sportsnet, whatever in the
or
US,
ESPN or TNT
kind of thing. Like they're going to be nationally televised in both countries, and you're getting a piece of that. So that's more money in the players' pockets, and every game counts towards standings points except the championship. So it's like these games matter because you're getting points or you're not, right? Like they count. I mean, they do records, not points, but they count, right? I think the NHL would probably be better served if they did that, but nevertheless, how could this work for the National Hockey League? Because let's face it, it could work. I mean, everyone's like, oh, they only care about the cup. Like, they don't even care about the President's Trophy. Well, they don't care about the President's Trophy because you don't make it matter enough.
There's nothing. Well, like all you do, you only get a trophy.
Like, but yeah, and it doesn't actually tangentially matter.
Like there's no monetary component to it.
Whereas, for example, if you win the Premier League, you get the right to go to the Champions League in like a top sort of, you're in the top bucket, which is where you want to be, but you also get an enormous amount of money from the league. Like your team gets an enormous amount of money, which then they can turn around because there's no salary cap and spend on players, but they have financial fair play rules where if you can't, basically you're not supposed to spend more than you make, right? And so if you make all that money because you've won,
then you can spend more.
So it's like the incentive needs to be the team who wins the President's Trophy gets an extra 10% on the salary cap for the next season or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, so
maybe not 10%, that's excessive, but like 5.
It's we were talking about this before we started, and the main thing that would get in the way, I think, is that like the NHL players wouldn't. You have to make it matter, and
right?
You can't, and even if it's just money, like I don't think the players would really show out for that.
No.
A lot of the players and like a lot of like the marquee players, and even honestly, like pretty much everyone that's not making league men, they already have money.
Yeah.
Like everyone can.
But the thing is like in basketball, like they have more money.
Yes.
And they still show up. So it's like, I don't get it. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think we've made the Stanley Cup too much the Holy Grail. Like nothing else matters.
Yeah, but
yes, it is the most beautiful trophy in sports, but
I kind of like that though. I like that this is like it's like in the NFL.
Other than the Olympics, like the Olympics are the Holy Grail for most players because they're never allowed to play in them.
Yeah, but like I mean, if you are, I just think that I like how it's. And again, this may sound like a boomer, but I like how it's pure. I like how it's like the Stanley Cup is the only thing that matters. And we have 32 teams.
See, I think it's stupid because
you were raised in like the soccer sort
right,
of.
but then you have people comparing success and it's like, oh, like the Leafs haven't been successful. They have like the 5th highest winning percentage of the last decade. To say that they've been a failure is objectively not true.
But I kind of like how it's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. You got to win. Like,
yeah, but then you have to take out the random. The problem you have in hockey is that
it's
officials,
so random.
First of all, the most random sport.
Yes, but
you might as well play like flip a coin.
But the officials are the big part of it.
The officials are a massive part of it. There is too much randomness and inconsistency. So I look at it and say there are no mechanisms to correct that.
Yeah,
and so you need to lessen the importance of the cup because they don't even call the rule book.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So you're winning a trophy in which the game is not played by the rules set out by it. So technically, it's not really even a proper win. If we really want to be pure about it.
Mm-hmm. Like look, I love Cinderella stories and all that, like in hockey, but like for the Stanley Cup to be the only thing that matters and the Florida Panthers to come within 3 games of it,
it's a joke.
Like what are we doing here? But I think there are some ways to make the in-season tournament work in the NHL, and it mainly is it has to be a motivator to the players. Yeah. So it's
and players want, like, you hear players, they're like, cap crunch this, like we can't do this because of the cap, and it's like, oh, we're losing this player because it's a business.
Well, yeah. Think about if you're Austin or like, it's a bad example because you got paid a lot, but like you're Austin Matthews and you look around and every like sort of sidekick you get has to leave because your team cannot afford.
Connor McDavid, who took less.
Yeah.
And Leon Draisaitl only making 8.5, which is not remotely enough.
I actually have a bone to pick with Leon Draisaitl right now because the Oilers pumped the Hurricanes 6-1 last night.
Did you see McDavid's assist?
Yeah, it was incredible. You know what I didn't see? Anything from Leon Draisaitl, who I have on my fantasy team, who I picked 2nd overall, who I need to produce, and they win. His team wins 6-1, and Leon's out there doing cardio. Talk to your boy, Rachel.
Well,
okay?
First of all, he wasn't doing cardio. He just got like he made the plays that led to separate goals that he didn't get points on.
Do I get fantasy points for that?
No, but the Oilers win, and that's what we care about, because do you or do you not want to see them in the playoffs?
Yeah, I want to see myself in the fantasy playoffs.
I don't care about your fantasy team. And I can tell you, neither does he.
All right, so that's the end of the podcast, everybody. So
how do we get the players to care? We have to give them a reward for the playoffs.
So we have to
that actually matters.
We have to loop in there. We have to basically do what what parents, not my parents because I never got presents, but like what parents do.
Did you ever get an allowance?
No.
Neither did I. People are like, oh, my allowance. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? They're like, oh yeah, like I put the dishes in the dishwasher and then I get money. So I'm like, if I don't put my dishes in the dishwasher, I get beaten.
There was one time.
Like, what?
I got a game. I had a Game Boy Advanced SP. It was the best.
Love those.
And it was the and this was like right when that was like the height of gaming. I think I was in like grade 2, grade 3.
Yeah.
And Pokemon was out, obviously. And
Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Red.
Yeah, and even like at that point, yeah, it was Pokemon. At this point, it was like Leaf Green and Fire Red, which I think
Sapphire.
is even better. Sapphire was a whole other region.
Yeah,
but this was like and I was like so stoked. I remember I left my Game Boy at like a movie theater or something, like in the mall one day, and so I lost it, and I was obviously heartbroken because like if you didn't have a Game Boy, if you weren't trading and playing and battling people on the playground with your Game Boy, like you were screwed. Like you were a social
you were
pariah.
allowed to have Game Boys at school?
It was public school, man. We could do whatever we wanted.
That wasn't allowed where I went to school.
We weren't allowed to like do them in class, but like at recess, it would be like dude, it's public school. Like we could have had like a dog fighting ring and they wouldn't have cared.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, we were allowed mini sticks though.
We weren't, because a kid got high sticked and like almost lost his eye, and that kibosh it. So what we did is we had like a ball hockey court, but we would use our feet instead, and that was like Thunderdome.
I was gonna say I feel like that's more dangerous.
It was legitimately like the gladiators. In like as kids, we would beat the crap out of each other every recess, to the point where they demolished, like they bulldozed over it, like at the end, so we wouldn't go in there. But I left my Game Boy at the movie theater. My parents made me save up, like just by doing like chores around the neighborhood and stuff. But I had to save, like they wouldn't buy me a new one. I had to pay for myself, and I had to save up for 2 years. I didn't have a birthday party for 2 years so I could afford my new Game Boy. Cause they're like, well, we can either on top of, because at that
your
point,
parents definitely tricked you, because hosting a birthday party is like about $180. So one birthday party would have covered your Game Boy.
At that point, Game Boys were like probably like $300. Like they were pretty expensive.
I got my Game Boy Advance for $170.
This is SP. This is like,
I had all three.
Yeah, I never had a DS. I never had anything like that.
No. I had the Game Boy Advance, and the Game Boy Advance SP, because the agreement in my family was I never got an allowance. Like I didn't even know what that was. If I got all A pluses on my report card, straight, no exceptions, I got to pick one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's pretty hard to get straight A pluses in a private school. And I got that, I think of the 6 semesters, I got it, I want to say 4 times. And I just, like, I got my Game Boy because I would play it like on the way to gymnastics or like going to competitions because I would travel. Same with Game Boy Advance, SP. I never had a DS though.
Yeah, me neither. But that's what we need to do with the NHLers. We basically have to make it so we need to give them a Game Boy to sort of strive to.
Right.
This. And I think that there are 2 ways to kind of do that we both sort of brought up here. One is the winner of the tournament, the winner of the NHL in-season tournament, gets a first round bye in the playoffs.
Right. So what you would do is, first of all, don't say you can't do it. The MLB and the NFL do it. So shut up. Yeah. You absolutely can. The winner in that, let's say it's the Eastern Conference, right? Okay, you've got one team that makes it. So then 7 teams are battling, or 7 teams make the playoffs. And same seeding, like you would have to go back to 1 to 8, which is what you should be doing anyways. The lowest seed that wins plays the team with the first round bye. Mm-hmm. So you get, because you hear every year that the playoffs are a war of attrition and we're losing guys, and rest is a super valuable weapon. Mm-hmm. Playing potentially 25% less games. Big thing.
Yeah, well, even just like to save yourself a 7-game series, like I would, and again,
and to offset the money that you would lose, like, because owners would completely complain, and we know this.
Yeah,
you get that money for winning the in-season tournament. So like whatever your revenues would be, maybe it's like a $5 million prize to the organization or something like that. But you get a first round bye because legitimately rest is a weapon. Like, whether you want to say that anecdotally, but like science backs that up. It is a thing.
Well, yeah, but you think about, and like last year, think about what the Cup final might have looked like if Florida didn't have to play Boston.
You actually can't even have 7 teams make the playoffs. It would have to be 6. So I'm not sure.
Or you just add an extra one, right? Like you just have like 8.
No, because then you have 4 would win. So it would have to be 6. I'm not sure how that would work.
It'd be tough, but like,
or you have 8, 7 and 8 play a best of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes in.
Yeah, that could
could do.
I think that would be good because then it's like 2 desperate teams, and that would also, the thing is
you have to do something though. There has to be a first round bye involved.
That would also increase. That would also increase the willingness to buy for teams at the deadline. It would like sort of increase player movement because it literally is like, if you get in, anything can happen. If you get in and you're 7 and 8, you win that.
But maybe we get trades earlier in the year because maybe they host the in-season tournament leading into All-Star.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right?
Yeah. So then
maybe the final is held at All-Star.
That'd be great.
Right? It's held going into All-Star at that location.
So something would actually matter on All-Star weekend. Because boy, oh boy, like
yeah, maybe you have like the All-Star game.
That'd be great.
And then, well, no, you can't. But let's say, okay, so All-Star weekend's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that you hold the final. You already know where All-Star is. Like, so this year it's in Toronto. So you would say the final of the NHL in-season tournament is in Toronto this year because that's where All-Star is. They play their game on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
They are then exempt from All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
They get a vacation. So the players that played in that final game, they get a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
They're exempt from All-Star game. You still get your bye week, whatever, shut up.
Like how different is that from the teams that went to the Global Series?
Yeah.
They got like 2 bye weeks.
Well, and the Sens have played like 19 games and the rest of the league has played like 25.
The Sens are 7 games behind certain teams.
Yeah.
Which is
so
crazy.
I think we haven't sussed out completely, but the reward should be a first round bye, and I liked your idea.
Yeah. So another one, I think this would really motivate.
You could almost eliminate the first round bye if you did this.
This would really sort of motivate teams and like players and the team specifically. Is that the winner of the in-season tournament gets to pick one player on the roster to make cap exempt for the rest of the year. Or, see, the thing is, rest of the year would be tough. Because
you can go out and acquire players at the deadline on expiring deals.
The deadline would really help for the deadline.
So like, let's say you are
the Leafs could get $11.5 million of cap space at the deadline if they win and they go, all right, well, Matthews
cap exempt.
They
still have to be cap compliant for next year.
Yes, but like in the intermediacy, they could like, how different is it than what the Oilers doing with Connor Brown? Like, how different is that, right? So like that, I think would
there's LTIR complications, but at the end of the day, if you think about like
what complications?
Well, because then they'll be like, oh, well, then the LTIR money comes back in, and so they're at the cap again. No. They get basically what you say is cap exempt to the point where like they get an extra $11.534 million to spend, where they can go in and acquire guys. Then Calgary doesn't have to retain on Chris Tanev.
Yes.
They could go out and acquire, I don't know who, like anyone on an expiring deal, Sean Walker, like.
And that could increase team spending because teams could go, well, like, maybe we don't want to pay, like, let's say.
There's still the same amount of money, like.
But let's say it's like Elias Pettersson, right? Like they go like, oh, the Canucks are like, oh man, maybe we don't want to pay him, like 12 and a half or whatever. But hey, if we can do that. And if we win the in-season tournament, he can cost nothing for the rest of the year. It could.
There's a legitimate motivating factor behind this. I think I might like this more than the first round bye because it's less complex.
Yeah, it's just literally like if you win the tournament, if you go through this sort of war of attrition,
you get a designated player.
You get to choose one player. Like it's like a compliance buyout. Like you get to choose one player,
and maybe they're not cap exempt, but they're league min.
Yeah, or you
they take up. Yeah, they're league min.
You bring it down to league min, or use something like that where because that's the biggest hiccup right now in making the NHL an interesting sport off the ice.
And think about what you could do with that money. Even if it's not like completely cap exempt, maybe it's 50% of their cap hit.
50%, but like that's
do something that gives them
that's $5.5-6 million.
Exactly, and then we can all watch the GM spend that absolutely terribly.
Exactly, but like like if you give GMs like an inch of rope, they're going to spend 2 inches and then complain about how, they have to get themselves out of this mess.
So let's say this leads into All-Star. That's before the trade deadline. So you could get trades in the in-season tournament because teams are moving on and they want to load up, right? They still have to be cap compliant, but let's say a team like acquires somebody, wins, and then they're like, oh, yep, now we're totally fine because, we were tight within like a junior chicken of the cap, and now we've got an extra $10 million to spend kind of thing. Like, I think that's less complex than the first round buy. I also think it would help with trades because teams would absolutely make trades leading into that.
And think about how much it would help a team. Like, it would help mid teams get out of it, but like think about how much it would help a team like the Minnesota Wild, right?
Oh,
they're kind of stuck in this mid malaise because they have to play hockey or build a roster with $14 million tied behind their back.
Let's say they win. Kirill Kaprizov's money doesn't count on the cap.
You get $9 million of that $14 million back. And then suddenly you can go out and get a scorer that you need. Suddenly you can go out and get, like a D-man you need or something. Like suddenly you can take this team that would be sort of languishing in the middle in like a big market, and suddenly they're actually like a contender.
Right. So there's got to be a financial reward, or else the owners would yell and scream as if they're not rich enough.
Yeah.
And there's got to be like a hockey level reward. I also think there needs to be like a in-season MVP, like the NBA
be a tournament
has,
MVP, and then that has a
monetary. Maybe the
that's
winner
like $500,000 or something.
I think it needs to be more. I think it's like $2 million. Like,
what's the is it $5 million for the NBA? I thought it was $500,000, wasn't it?
I'm not sure what it is, but there is a reward.
Basically,
for it.
Whatever it is for the NBA, you just cut that in half.
Pretty much. But think about it. You get national game. If every game is nationally televised, then you're gonna have increased revenue. I think what we should do is make it divisional, right? So every team plays each other in a home and home.
Yes.
Then the top 2 teams from each division go on. That's 8. First in the Atlantic plays second in the Metro, vice versa, on and on and on. Then the winners, they go and they play at a neutral site, likely just wherever All-Star is. I think that could be very cool. You have GM meetings at All-Star, so everyone is there. Make that your literal winter meetings. But
the GMs, they're like, no, we like to go to like Sarasota or Pebble Beach or something.
Sucks to suck.
Do you want to make money?
Yeah.
It's like that's the thing that I hate about this is that there's so many but the GMs like the warm weather. What if All-Stars in Toronto? Why would they like? You're telling me that we can't go have our owners meetings or GM meetings in Sarasota this year, so we have to go to Toronto in February?
You'll live.
Yeah,
you'll live.
Yeah, so but I really like it. I
also, you guys, every single GM in the National Hockey League has a 7-figure salary.
Yeah,
you all have places in Cape Cod.
Exactly.
You can take time off in the summer when your team is not playing pound salt. I have zero sympathy for that.
Oh, I have zero sympathy for it too. Believe me, I haven't been on a vacation in my adult life. It's I get it, but
like when I leave to go to my place at the end of the month, barring obviously some things that are going on right now, nobody is going to hear from me for 2 weeks. Like, you will hear from me and that's it. Pretty much. Like, I am going to fall off the face of the earth. Dude,
my goal is to just buy a cabin somewhere and become like a lumberjack. Like, I never want to talk to another human being again. I like this. I like this idea. I really, really do.
Right. And maybe let's say you're playing the home and home in your division. So then for the rest of the season, you only play the team in your division one more time. Sure. Right. So it allows maybe a little bit better of a balance. I think there's something there. I think they need to look into it. I think it could increase revenues, especially if everything was nationally televised. Especially if you watch TNT, what they're doing with Liam McHugh, Henrik Lundqvist, Biz, and Anson Carter, when they have whoever else on, Gretzky's amazing. We need to start doing that at Sportsnet. They have Kevin Bieksa. Kelly Hrudey has a great sense of humor. I would pay money to see Elliot Friedman do some of this stuff. I think we need to find a way to make hockey broadcasts more fun. And I think TNT is doing a really good job of that. and let's spruce up the game a little bit. Like,
the only problem is like you couldn't paint the ice the way that they do with the like.
Oh my God, no. That's not. I also think that those look terrible. But like, I'm strictly talking about the NHL needs to find a way to do this in-season tournament and make it matter. And I think the cap exemption is a great way if you can't figure out a way for the first round bye to work.
And I think that the like a big sort of draw is the fact that you're able to see different designs, and that's the one thing that hockey has in its like with the in-season tournament. That's one thing that hockey is sort of has a drawback in the fact that like you can't with the in-season tournament they have crazy court designs, you know, like it looks really cool, and adds sort of a like an ethereal, like, you know, sort of this is special type like
maybe it's special jerseys.
Maybe it's special jerseys. You have to wear
your third jerseys.
Or even you get like you just do like a reverse retro type thing again.
In-season tournament jerseys.
In-season tournament jerseys, you know, it's another thing. Something like but not every team has a third jersey. That's the only thing.
Well,
like
I mean, each NBA team has like 8.
Yeah, but
the fact that NHL teams don't even have 3 is ridiculous.
I would argue that is actually like a detriment to the NBA.
Why?
The amount of jerseys they have, because you like now I have no idea what any team looks like now. Like I don't know.
Well, I think so I think every team
all the time.
Every team needs to have a mandatory third jersey.
I think so. Yeah.
Mandatory. I think every team needs to have a throwback.
Yes.
There's 4.
Yeah, and that's it.
Call it a day.
The NBA literally has way too many.
And so the NBA Christmas jerseys are different because you know who's playing.
Yes, but I mean like if you turn on the TV, I guarantee you if you didn't have the click like the thing under, you wouldn't be able to tell like who was playing in like at least 60% of the games.
See, so
you're like, oh, the Hawks are purple now, and it's like, oh yeah, it's their like Street City Elite Edge jersey.
Dumb.
I'm like, cool, like all right, but like the Utah Jazz.
I know exactly.
Tell me what their jersey looks like right now. You couldn't tell me.
Yeah, I can because I watch them for gambling reasons.
But like, okay, like you could. I would love to do a game one day where I just show you random jerseys and you try and tell me what team they're for.
I'm in. Let's do it. We'll do it on. We'll stream that on Twitch.
Sure, we'll do that on Twitch because yeah. Like it. I would say the detriment, but the NHL, you're right. They need 4 jerseys. They need 2, like home and away,
a dark and a white.
Yeah.
An alternate, and a throwback. So like the Jets. Get the Jet jersey back.
Yes.
You're playing in that. Coyotes, you're doing with the Kachina thing, but then you're doing a throwback Kachina jersey. Leafs, you could pick your St. Pat's, your Arenas, your whatever you want.
Well, St. Pat's could even be their throwback if they want, or that could be their third. They could choose either one of those.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it's good.
At Montreal, there's 76 jerseys. The Kraken Winter Classic jersey needs to be their primary uniform.
And this is my hot take, and I said it from the first time I saw them. I'm actually a fan of the Golden Knights Winter Classic jerseys.
Me too.
I like those.
Okay, both teams crushed it.
I think both teams did a great job. And yes, their logo does look like a V flipping someone off with both hands,
which is honestly why I think it's funny.
But like I actually really like that. So it's I think you can make it work in that way. Maybe you can maybe even you could like sort of dress the boards up a little bit in some way, or like
know how they do like the Hockey Fights Cancer boards?
Yeah.
Do like an in-season tournament boards.
Something like that. Even though like they do have the digital ads. So like that you
how about here's an idea. Get rid of them.
No, but that's Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman has talked to people and they say that it's even better. Like it's improved the watching experience.
Just like nobody wants to go to the Olympics, right?
Yeah. And that's a great segue into Gary Bettman being very concerned. He was at the Board of Governors meetings this last week. Mm-hmm. Gary Bettman was asked about the NHL participating in the 2026 Olympics, which is what everyone is striving
to do.
Milan, which is beautiful, you know. Like,
I was there last year.
Great. But Gary Bettman though.
We're concerned.
And listen, he says, we want them there. Absolutely. Even though we have stood in their way since 2014. So for basically a decade.
Over a decade by the time this passes. Yeah.
But we want them there.
So he's
very concerned because the stadium in Milan. Oh, and what year is it? It's 2023. Okay, so that's 3 years. But the stadium in Milan hasn't been built yet.
It's also in Italy, and Italians are notorious for what? Construction. Not to mention, you allowed the Vancouver Canucks last season to start 3 weeks on the road. You allowed the New York Islanders to start for God knows how long. And you are currently allowing the Arizona Coyotes to play in a college arena. So are we picking and choosing when we're concerned about the ice rinks? Because there is I'm going to say that rink is going to be built. And it's going to be built with 2 months to spare, more than likely.
I'm not sure if you read 32 Thoughts from last night.
I have not.
So I did. And Elliot Friedman brought this up. He had a great point. And this is as pointed, I guess, as Elliot can get against the
Gerald.
The NHL. And basically, he's just like, Gary Bettman with the concern. He's like, I don't think it's a big deal. Because I remember I remember in Sochi, the NHL was doing sort of an on-site visit for for all the arena. They were really concerned that it hadn't been built yet. And they voiced that. And as they were like leaving, there were like buses of workers coming in to like finish up, and it got done in record time. Like it was like,
we're talking about,
this is 3 years away, man. Let's relax.
You're literally allowing a team in your own league to play in a building while they do not have land. Like those in glass houses shan't be throwing stones.
This is the problem with the wording of the new CBA that relates to this, because the actual wording of it allows Gary a lot. It's very ambiguous and allows them. So like he's using this, like it's
almost unilateral power.
They're basically allowed to pull out if like there's any threat to like player safety, or if the facilities aren't up to code or something, like stuff like that.
But the facilities that our players play in on a regular basis are not up to code.
Yeah, but awesome. But that's in it. So he can pull it's very ambiguous. So that's why he's leaning on this not being built yet.
This is 100% his like.
I mean, like, well, guys, we tried our best, but it just don't blame me. Blame the building.
You know what's crazy is, so we talk about how the NFL, the MLB, and the NBA consistently do things that like are better, and the NHL is always left behind. The one thing that the NHL gets right is that, well, they did until 2014, is that they send their players to the Olympics. So much so that the NFL is considering, because flag football is now a summer sport, allowing players like Tyreek Hill to play. So if the NFL thinks it's a good idea for their players to go to the Olympics, and they are 10 times bigger than the NHL, I think maybe the NHL should probably find a way to get their booties to the Olympics.
My favorite memes at the start of the NFL season, where it would be like the Oppenheimer face, of like the Oppenheimer guilt face, or like dissociative face, and it would be like the 38-year-old corner from Turkmenistan who had never played football until 6 months ago, like lining up, watching Tyreek Hill like running at like 25 miles per hour right at him, stuff like that. Like it's, or like it would be like that. It would be like the I don't know, like the Swiss
quarterback lining up to play against Jalen Ramsey.
like the Swiss quarterback checking his blind side as like Aaron Donald is coming at him or something like that. Like it's crazy.
And that defensive line would be redonkulous.
Well, the States would kill everyone.
It would be really funny though.
It would be like
I would pay to watch Tyreek Hill play though.
Yeah,
flag football with no pads on.
But like the States would kill everyone. Like what I'm trying to think of what
I
else?
wonder if like the actual IOC is like, okay, no.
Yeah, like they might have to like even the playing field, because it would be like Team Canada would have like Javon Holland and
Nathan Rourke.
Yeah, and like I literally can't like.
And the US would have Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts.
It depends. Like I guess
Jalen Hurts could be the running back.
Yeah, like Team USA would have like Patrick Mahomes. It would have like Lamar Jackson. It would have every like. Really,
but you could have like
QB.
the verse. You wouldn't even need to bring a running back, because you could just have like.
You could have Lamar Jackson, or you could have
Jalen Hurts,
Kyler Murray, even like
capable of doing both. Josh Allen, LOL.
Josh Allen could be your tight end, man. Like put him in there. Like it's
Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey,
Josh Allen.
Allen.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But if the NFL thinks it's a good idea,
the NHL should be going.
The NHL.
And so it's a good point here is that like this is Like, look, I think Marty Walsh has done a great job so far as like the new union head.
Me too.
He acted like immediately on the Babcock stuff.
He could not have acted faster.
And he like flew down, did like an in-person investigation, did all that. That's great.
The players seem to be pretty happy.
But this is where he's got to flex his muscle. Like, this is a big reason why he was elected, is so he can go, like, this will be a tough fight. If this happens, this will be a tough fight because Bettman, he's a lawyer. He'll pull all this stuff out. You know, like this will be the time where, you know, Marty Walsh has to put his big boy pants on.
He's got to earn his money.
It's like 2.5, 3 years out, and Bettman is already starting to wiggle. Like, he's already trying to wiggle out of this.
I'm gonna be so angry if we miss out on an Olympic team with Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, and Bedard. Like, I will be.
But even think about what the States would be like. Like,
I want to see Crosby and McDavid play. Well, I don't care about anyone else.
I want to see a team that has a 1, 2, 3 center depth of like McDavid, Crosby, Bedard, the 3 generations right there. And
Crosby would probably play the wing because McKinnon would play.
Yeah, there you go.
Crosby would be on the wing.
But then also
Crosby would be the 4th line center, which he would be the Bergeron, which would be so hilarious.
Funny. But the States, like, they have an absolutely stacked roster too.
You'd have
both like Jack and Quinn, Matthews, the Tkachuks, Eichel, Tage Thompson.
U.S. goaltending would be, that's where the leg up
Joseph
is there.
Woll starter, you know?
Yeah, like you've got Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, like, like the U.S. will be very
Canada's
good.
goaltending would be rough.
A problem.
Like, Canada's like, I don't even, Fleury.
Skater-wise, Canada is the deepest.
Fleury's not even the starter on his own. Like, I don't even know if he's an NHL
First of all,
player.
He's going to be retired by then.
I know, but like.
I think you're looking at.
Like Carter Hart? Like,
Devin Levi.
But Devin Levi's in the AHL right now. I know it's in 3 years
away. Chill.
But like, compared to like the establishment of Hellebuck or Ottinger there.
Yeah,
like,
maybe. And I hate to be this person, maybe allowing international goalies to play in the CHL, taking up spots from Canadian goalies, was a bad idea.
I don't know, man. It's just like Canada would have, Canada's goaltending could be their Achilles heel because they don't have the Brodeur.
It will be their Achilles heel.
Mike Smith trio that they had in Vancouver.
Carey Price.
He's
exactly
gone.
Yeah.
Like think about like every big Canadian goalie's gone. Carey Price was like the cheat code forever. You'd be like,
he literally was the cheat. There was in straight Olympics, it went from Martin Brodeur to Roberto Luongo to Carey Price.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
that's pretty great. But then you're gonna have to put in like literally like Carter Hart. Like,
that doesn't inspire.
Demko is American, right? Yeah. So, dude, he might even like talk about Ottinger and
it might be Demko.
Could be Demko in there. The Canada does not have a single goaltender who could match any of those 3.
No.
Like,
not even a little bit, because we do a piss poor.
What is it? Jordan Binnington?
Jake Allen. First of all, Hockey Canada is not touching Jordan Binnington.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, I'm thinking of Canadian goaltenders. They're all bad. They're all bad.
It's bad.
Like who?
It's super bad.
Everyone's bad. I'm trying to, like, the best Canadian goal, like Carter Hart is.
He is having a pretty good year. For the 2nd year in a row. Like, if Carter Hart does truly find himself, then he is the goalie. But at the same time, he's got to establish himself the way like Jake Ottinger
Tristan
has.
Jarry, is he?
Yes and no.
He's Canadian, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so like.
It's a problem. It's a real problem. Either way, it's not even going to matter because they might not go. And if Gary Bettman...
He's already starting to wiggle out of it.
If he robs hockey fans of seeing Crosby, McDavid, and Bedard, 3 generational players together, that should be the end of his.
That should be a prison sentence.
Like
that should be like he should be indicted. He should.
Like, you deserve to be booed at the grocery store. Of bad.
We should have a like.
Although Adam Silver is saying that he likes Henry Kissinger is not a good look, Adam.
I saw a great tweet about that yesterday where it's just like, all right, so it's like, hey, I just got hired as Adam Silver's PR person. His approval rating has never been higher because of the in-season tournament. So here are your 2 talking points, Adam. Hail, like, talk about the benefits of the in-season tournament. Don't compare yourself to a war criminal. And that's it. Like, Adam Silver going to be like, yeah, I fancy myself like a modern day Henry Kissinger.
You're like, whoa,
dude, that is like that's the last thing you probably should have said. But yeah, he's already starting to wiggle out of it. So Marty Walsh, he's got to start laying the hammer down now.
Immediately, right now.
So we don't miss out on, we don't rob the next generation.
You know, it'd be great if like all of the high end superstars were like, if you don't let us go to the Olympics,
we'll kill you.
We are not playing the World Cup of hockey.
It's like, if you don't let us go to the Olympics,
simply will not come.
Which is like, we'll kill you. No,
but like literally, they should just say we won't play the World Cup of hockey, and we will not appear in an All-Star game. Yeah. So good luck with that one.
Yeah, like they should.
What are you gonna do? Suspend us all?
What are you gonna do? Suspend us for one game, like you do?
Okay.
Like, oh no, we all missed one game. That hurts your product even more. Who's gonna buy a ticket to a slot where like every single NHL team's best player is not playing that night?
Not me.
It's third line night, everybody. Like it's middle six night.
It's like middle six. Mid six night.
It's midnight, everybody.
Yeah,
where everyone is just super mid.
Just you wanna grow the game? Go to the Olympics.
It's as simple as that.
It's actually not difficult.
It's as simple as that.
People are like, oh, it's actually not good business to go to the Olympics. Please name me a sport that has suffered from going to the Olympics. You can't.
People view things in terms of just like the immediate return.
And that's not what it's about.
You're not going to the Olympics to make money now. Going to the Olympics is an investment. Going to the Olympics is so
not
you can
hard.
Put your best players on the biggest international stage viewed by everyone around the world, so they can go, oh, this sport seems pretty cool, and they follow it.
Yeah.
You
don't need to take a piece of the pie. It's a 2-week tournament. You'll live.
Going to the Olympics, you should the only thing about going to the Olympics, like the deciding factor should not be, oh, I don't make X amount of money. Like I'm not going to get a ton of money from this.
Yeah. Leave it up to the players.
Think about anyone who invested in Apple at the start. They go, oh, like if I sell my Apple stock, I'm only going to make like 10 grand. Like, well, what's the point?
My parents invested in Google when it went public. Hi, that's gone well.
They were probably pretty pissed that, right at the start.
My dad actually was not happy and pulled out 25% of the shares. And I consistently make fun of him for that.
I didn't know that, but I will mock him endlessly for it as well.
I think it was 25%. It was a big chunk.
As someone with like $19 to his name, I will mock your father for his financial acumen. It sounds great. But listen, yeah. So that is thing. We got to get Marty Walsh on the horn with Gary right away to be like,
we're going to the Olympics, Gary.
I can already sense that you're pulling.
If I were a player, like let's say, actually, wait a minute, McDavid's contract is up that year. What if he says, I am not signing in the National Hockey League so I can go play in the Olympics and I'll sign after.
He would never.
No, but I'm saying, like, imagine if he threatened. They would go to the Olympics so fast.
No, the NHL would be like, that's a lie, Connor. Like, they would be like, you're not.
But imagine he did that.
It would be great.
It would be hilarious.
His bluff would be called immediately. That's the thing. Like,
But he's rich enough anyway. Like, if he, if he wins a cup between now and then, it would be super funny. Who gives a darn at that point?
Exactly. So
he would never do that. Like, he would never do that. But I would just pay money to see the conversations that get had at NHL head office because
if he does do that.
Or like, what if the Oilers and the Leafs are like, what if teams owners say, no, we'll let them play. Because Matthews can just say, I'll sit. Don't pay me. You've already paid me $40 million.
Like my contract.
I have enough.
My contract is entirely signing bonus. You've already paid me.
Retiring.
Yeah. Be great. So let's do that.
None of this would ever happen. It's all pie in the sky.
It's great.
But the point is, I mean, Marty Walsh, this is where he's going to earn his
absolutely.
Money. If he does not get them to the Olympics, it's not only is it an abject failure on him, Gary Bettman's got to go. One, the man is like in his 70s.
Well, if
are we done here yet?
If Marty Walsh doesn't get them to the Olympics, then what's the point of having Marty Walsh around?
It's literally
there is no point. Like, I think he's done a great job, but this is the battle that he needs to win to like entrench himself.
This is the battle that matters.
This is the battle he needs to win to entrench himself as like the head of the union, like for the foreseeable future. Like, I think obviously,
like if I'm going to be Adam Silver for a second, this is D-Day. I had to take my chance there. I really did. but it's the most important battle.
Yeah, and he's got to win it. Speaking of, I guess, important battles, we will battle to be back on Monday. Potentially, we will be dressed up in some fun outfits. We'll see.
That is the plan. Next week's plan is the Miser Brothers.
Yeah.
And Elf.
That'd be great. So we'll be doing that. Obviously, shout out to Jumpstart, our charity of choice. We love Jumpstart. They help get economically disadvantaged kids into team sports, which are extremely important to the development of a child and their brain. You
can donate to Jumpstart. There is a link in the show notes. There's a link in the YouTube. There's a link on our Instagram.
Yep.
That is what I will be doing this Christmas season. I will be donating to Jumpstart.
This will be coming out on Thursday. So on Friday night at approximately 6 p.m., I will be starting our marathon through the Batman Arkham games on Twitch, the Staff and Graph Twitch. So twitch.tv/Staff and Graph, just one word. We'll be starting streaming that. Come on, hop in. We can talk literally anything. We can talk Batman, hockey, whatever, as we play some of the best games of all time and just chill on a Friday night, So that sounds good. We'll be doing that. We'll be back on Monday. Sounds good. Subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe on any podcast you like. Write us a review. Yeah, we'll be back on Monday.